And we're live. What's up, Kingdom of Rock? This is Matt Gibson, and I am here today with an exciting panel of Hollywood squares. Wait, no, I've already used that joke.
8 is enough.
Dad joke. That's starting to get old. So I'm here today with my co-host, Mr. Michael Molenda. How you doing today, Mike? How's life up north in the northern part of California?
It's sunny today. I can see the sun out my window, even though I'm afraid to go outside in the sun. But
right,
I can see it. It looks sunny. It looks awesome.
That's cool. And also I've got the amazing Bruce Kulick and the amazing Todd Kerns here today with me. Very well established musicians. You may know Bruce from his time with Kiss and Grand Funk Railroad. And Todd's he's the bass player for Slash's band right now. And both of these guys have been doing the music industry for a very long time. And of course, Michael, he's former editor of Guitar Player for well over 20 years and did all kinds of things in the music industry. So welcome everyone to Kingdom of Rock. How are you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great.
We are now, this is the new world, communicating with everybody this way, Interesting.
This is it. But this is
I don't have a bigger square. What happened to my square? What is it? Am I at a different ratio?
You've got
all in position, Bruce.
Here, let's see. Let's see what we can do here.
Order going.
Okay, nope, that's me.
Now now we're all equal.
You had like a widescreen vibe, like more cinematic kind of.
Wait a minute, let's see. How can we do this?
Like a different ratio or something. I'm always the complainer. Carry on.
Okay. We're just trying to make Bruce happy here. No.
It'll never make me happy.
Good luck.
And it's raining here in Vegas a little bit. So
it is indeed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And both Todd and Bruce, you're both in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Bruce is new. I've been here like 13 years now, believe it or not.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only, it'll be like 2 years in July, which is pretty amazing.
Wow. Is it 2 years already? Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. A lot of things, 2 years, amazing. And look what's happened in like 30 days here.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The world and more, So
speaking of that, like the music industry is kind of crumbling right now a little bit. We've got all the venues are shut down. Everything it's hard for musicians to make money, like everybody's, especially some of the younger artists, less established groups are really struggling big time. All the support people.
Not to mention all the crew guys, all my crew friends, staring down the barrel of 9 months of work and it's just gone, or whatever it is, it's brutal. It's super brutal.
Steve Stevens was saying that, he's had, he and Billy Idol had their crew for almost 20 years and it was devastating to have to furlough those guys and girls. And he said, some of them might just not ever come back because, you got to put food on the table. So
of course, yeah. You run the risk of losing those people entirely, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea where this is headed, really. I mean, meaning the new norm, and actually it was our drummer, Todd's other half when he's out there with Slash, Brent Fitz and I were having a little texting back and forth about the future of gigging, and maybe it's a situation where everyone is kind of tested, for temperature and before they can allow people in, and maybe that's what happens even to get on a plane or a bus or a train or whatever. I don't know where this all headed because I still think there's a lot they need to understand scientifically about the virus. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in our lifetimes, we've heard of the other pandemics. None of us have experienced that.
No, not at all.
And obviously it's like a 9/11 moment for America and the world actually. But how do you compare 9/11? And terrorism was always a frightening, really difficult thing to handle in your brain, but you knew who the enemy was generally, and there were some steps you could take. An invisible enemy is really, even that could be on your mail that comes into your home.
True, yeah.
Or your food products or whatever. Or maybe your pet now can catch it somewhere.
Don't you think it's also kind of like interesting that we've gotten so accustomed to like the idea of don't shake hands with people that it almost feels like that might become something that's completely changed. Like now we'll just be like, hey, dude, you know, or like, have to create some new kind of like gesture or something because shaking hands just strikes me as kind of like, huh, And just kind of like, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. I don't know.
I don't know if an elbow bump will even work anymore. Who knows?
Probably not.
You know, your clothes.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, it's hard to fathom it. I mean, if you are a paranoid person, or, you know, already have some psychological challenges. I mean, the fact that every single thing in your daily life could have the virus on it and possibly make you sick is just, that's overwhelming.
Absolutely.
It's too much. Yeah, you can't. Honestly, I'm a relatively optimistic person with this kind of stuff, and I keep saying like, oh, it's just a matter of time for everything returns to normal. But if you would have told me a month ago that this would still be happening, or 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, oh no, it'll be fine by then. At least fine, as in we'll have some answers.
Right.
But I don't know. It's interesting that Matt brings that up about like the future of gigging and everybody that's suffering now. It's just, if you're lucky enough to be able to kind of ride this out, like financially or whatever, but not everybody, and it's not even just people with gigs and music people. It's regular people who live week to week. It's crazy. It's hard to imagine.
Look, I wanted to tie something into like something we all love, which is gear, guitars, pedals. Somebody had something on Reverb I had to have. It was a certain model LTD ESP that I love that's discontinued. Anyway, I order it. I get it. And the guy was in Washington, right? And I told the guy, I said, look, I got the guitar. It's in my garage in quarantine for a while. And he's like, well, everything's okay over here. Well, that doesn't matter. Maybe he is fine, but then who handled it, right? The box and et cetera, et cetera. And I just changed the strings on it. It's all fine. It's been like 5 days already, a week or whatever, and I loved it. But the other funny thing, and this is the scary part of it all, is I ordered a Japanese Boss SD1. I love that pedal. Mike, the little yellow guy. I can't go anywhere without it, because that's the little boost that gets me to it gives me my turbo tone, that I can play leads with. Anyway, I found somebody offering a nice Japanese one. The number was close to one I have that looks beat up. Anyway, I get it. I tell the guy, by the way, I received the pedal, thank you. I'm going to check it out in a couple of days. It's in quarantine in my garage. Oh, wow. And I see he sells other things. Oh, you're the first person to mention anything like that. Why is that? Kind of, you know what I mean? I'm like, because somebody could have handled it and the virus could be on it, and I don't want to bring that into my home. And different, apparently different materials are different with it. So it's just kind of weird. And so I'm educating the guy. You would think we'd all have the same information, but I think, as you know, people are going to believe what they want, or they're going to be exposed to certain information. And that's the scary part here, especially when the information keeps changing too. That's
the thing, yeah.
Where a tiger, and does that mean all those people that ran out, oh my God, I'm going to be home a month, time to get the dog, right? And then what happens if the dog gets sick? Can he get you sick? I don't know the answers to this. I'm just saying it's just mind-boggling, which is why I've referred it to many people as the giant shit show. Okay. I keep a brave face, but I also have an inner terror over the whole thing. Okay.
Well, the tiger thing probably wouldn't tear out on me. I'm fine to wash the UPS boxes and let the mail sit for a while, who cares? But that thing about the animals, because I got 2 dogs. I walk them every day. They're sniffing shit all over the place. Are they sniffing stuff that has the virus on it? I mean, I kind of went,
I know.
What did I do?
You got to quarantine your animal and spray them down before they're back in the house. I mean, I don't know.
Just so you guys know, my tiger's fine though. Just so you guys know.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good. That's the rare
one in the bedroom.
Yeah. He's a handful, but he's fine.
Did you get him from the Tiger King or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody raves about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy. But some of the positive things is I'm reaching out to people I probably never would have. Or I only keep in touch with once in a while. And
yeah, I know.
The silver lining is spending time to look at things that you never get a chance to. Because like Todd, in my life certainly is a bookend by trips and gigs and commitments. And then you come home, you have like a normal little period of time or larger. But to look at my schedule today, I'm like deleting gigs from Grand Funk schedule off my calendar. I'm not going. I was supposed to do these clinics. I rarely break away from Grand Funk, but I was going to do clinics in the UK, 2 in Scotland and 1 in northern England, Newcastle. And I already knew, like, oh my God, even when I bought the ticket, I go like, this might all like just like not happen. Okay.
Yeah.
And when this one fan told me how his girlfriend had like some sort of immune disease issue or wasn't healthy, what's going to happen? We bought the meet and greet package. And at that point, I just started to talk to my people. I said, we got to let them know that this is not going to happen. You know, the news got worse and worse every day. So I forget what date I actually posted it, but it was certainly by the time we were all like, stay home, 30 days. Yeah. And no matter as much as some people tried to be optimistic that maybe it would be a shorter period of time, we actually, or the 15 days originally that the federal government here did, and then it turned into, of course, now to the end of April. But I did the right thing, and it just breaks my heart to think that those things that are important in your career, to meet the fans and to go to these places is just not happening,
Well, it might not even be that way, as you mentioned. I forget whether it was Todd or you that mentioned it, how we get back to the whole gigging thing. Even if in July the government says, okay, go out and have fun. I mean, are big bands going to have meet and greets anymore? Because I know that's a revenue driver, but it's also a closure scenario. And are people going to want to be crammed together in front of the stage anymore? Because you can open the door, but it doesn't mean the public's going to go, oh yeah, I feel good about this. Any feedback on that, Bruce? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. And at least Brent gave me some info like, all right, the people coming in is all clear. And the one thing I did hear on the news today, and as the news changes so much, really the best way to protect moving forward would be if it was possible for everyone to get tested. And as you see, we're having a problem just testing people who have the disease or are suspected of having the disease. And I think our death toll is actually a lot higher than they're saying, because there are a lot of people die, but they're not reported that way because they might have expired differently or from something else, but it was the virus that killed them. I got to think that somehow moving forward, long term, we got to know who is capable of being places. And that's a lofty concept, but that's what I'm hoping could happen, something like that.
Well, it's bizarre being in Vegas because Vegas is such, everybody comes here to let their hair down. It's like, I can't even imagine the revenue that's missing, in the last couple of weeks. And initially I thought, well, it's Vegas, the day everything's reopened, everybody's coming to Vegas because they want to let their hair down. But I'm not so sure anymore if it's going to be more like a trickle in kind of like, of course there's going to be people who are like, it is what it is. I'm going to go and let my hair down and have a good time regardless. I think I talked to a friend yesterday and he goes, and I just sort of said, well, it's hard to know how this is going to go. If the Vegas Knights hockey team had a game tomorrow night, and he goes, I'd go. And I go, yeah, I guess you would. And I don't know what the percentage of those people are, but there's a number of people who are just going to go, I'm going to take a chance, and see what happens. And so a town like Vegas, I drove down the Strip the other day, just out of curiosity. I thought, this will be so weird, dude. And it'll be like, like a post-apocalyptic scene. And it'll be like, and it was just kind of like quiet and weird. I drove up one side and drove back the other side. And it was really like, okay, that was weird. The signs are all still on. They say, they're advertising whatever they're advertising, but it's just that there's nobody there. It just seems like it just feels like you're just happen to be driving around very early in the morning when the traffic is sort of like not happening. So it's otherworldly, and it's not like a neat kind of cool. It's kind of like, this is a little bit creepy and I don't like it and I'm going home.
I saw a month ago, actually maybe more than a month ago, that the MGM Grand was saying it was losing $1 million a day or something crazy because
I'm not surprised.
A lot of their revenue was from Chinese tourists who like to, high rollers and stuff like that.
Of course,
that stopped. So, I mean, if you take every hotel and every casino on the Strip, I mean, how do you come back from that? I mean, how much can these corporations absorb? They're down 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 60 million. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
It's very interesting, and it's a very interesting thing to try and project forward as to how this is all going to roll out. Because in reality, I would assume the doors will open and it will be just like game on, and it's going to have to be, what it is, and I assume that, I like to think that if it's that Monday that they open, I think that it's going to be pretty busy, you know. And I think people are going to want to get out and finally get out and, you know, and hang out and have some fun. You know what I mean? And that's the one good thing is I lived here during the recession, you know, 10 years ago or whatever it is now, 13 years ago, whatever it was. And I thought, like, for sure with the recession that the music industry would get pummeled because no one can afford to go to concerts anymore. No one can afford to come see shows. No one can afford to go to the bars and watch my friends play around town. But none of us really felt that affected. It was as if during hard times, people still want to, you know, like, it's a priority to go out and create some fun for yourself, you know, if you can afford to do so. You know what I mean? Like, if you can afford a drink and you can afford $5 to get into a cover charge in a club or whatever. So I don't know. It's very interesting to project forward in the next month or two or whenever it's going to be and see how that would play out. I'm very curious.
I saw an article today where China is starting to let people go out now, and it was like a madhouse.
It was.
And it was like everyone is out.
Like Black Friday.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like Black. Yeah, it was exactly like that.
Everywhere's Black Friday. Yeah.
You know, we've had you know, probably about 20 plus conversations about this, and with you know, panels of artists and everything. And I think you know, one of the things I think we're going to see is kind of a migration back to the arts, and people are kind of or you know, you don't know what you got until it's gone, that type of thing.
100%.
And I think there is going to be if people can afford it, they're going to definitely come out and support.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody's going to be traveling, getting on a plane, traveling to Las Vegas, but I think wherever you are, I'm pretty sure that Friday night is going to be a kick-ass Friday night.
Yeah, and it may bring back the local music scenes.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Michael, you were talking about how you kind of miss the local music scenes. Maybe a result of this is going to be that since we don't travel regionally as much, maybe it'll revive the kind of that vibe of the local music scene.
And maybe,
I hope so, because I don't know what it's like in Las Vegas, but in San Francisco, and you know, I'm sure you guys have both traveled up here. I mean, we're losing venues even before the apocalypse.
Of course. Yeah.
And losing venues to the point where, you know, there's always those clubs where you could be shitty in. You know, if you're just a band, you could work your act out and suck.
Totally, yeah.
And it was okay. Well, you know, those types of clubs in San Francisco are pretty rare these days. You kind of have to have a following, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, hopefully it will bring some energy back in and other clubs will open. That would be awesome.
And I think that's a valuable point, that maybe local things people will have to reevaluate that and think about, you know, it was so easy for everybody to just, when the major artists who have really scary, outrageous prices, come, I think all that's going to have to get adjusted too. I think everybody's going to have to re-examine if you could see some of those iconic bands that demand, you know, like even the bleacher seats over $100 or something, that it's not that way anymore, you know. And you know, I think it's going to be embraced by everybody, but how we serve it up, or how it's, you know, kind of monetized, or the actual entertainment business, I think they're all going to have to rethink a lot of things. It would have to be, because this has been world changing, and it's not just here. You know, I got friends in France and other places in the world, and I ask what's going on, and you know, every country is getting hit and handling things slightly different. It's a different variation. I love watching Sky News, you know, for England, you know, but I think the entertainment business, there'll be lots of that, where they'll all get together and figure out, and maybe a band that's big from a certain area, maybe, you know, they don't do the world tour and they just do something smaller but impactful and enjoyable for everybody. I don't know.
We talked about that a little bit. It's interesting you bring that up, Bruce, because I don't know, you know, for Grand Funk or even for Slash, or even if you have the data available, there's obviously fixed costs, and that's the crew and the trucks and all that, and then there's what you want to make, and then there's what the management wants to make, blah blah blah. Do you think it's something where beyond the fixed costs, you know, artists are going to have to look at, you know, what their fair post-apocalyptic revenue scene is?
I don't know, and maybe you know that a lot of the money, besides it going to everybody involved with a concert getting a piece of it, but some of these bands take productions that are just millions of dollars, and to tour around with it, and the crew and the 10 trucks and the whole thing. Maybe there's just a way to entertain. Grand Funk has a very little overhead, and that's why our price is not insane. Yet the music really does the talking. You know, Todd's seen us. You know, we can be in a small venue for 800 people, like the Nugget here in Las Vegas, which is a great room. Frank Sinatra used to play there, so I love it. But then we can play a big, you know, like outside the NASCAR thing, and there's, you know, 15,000 people just on the lawn, you know, outside the stadium going nuts watching us. Obviously they're all there anyway, you know what I mean? So that's more like a sponsor gig. But I don't, you know, I don't know how the artists want to absorb that. I just know I've never been on the business end of a band that's doing the really huge business to see how it could affect, you know, taking the trucks and the crews and carrying $1 million production or even $100,000 production. I don't have enough experience to answer that.
Well, maybe too, because Grand Funk and certainly, you know, playing with Slash, Todd, I mean, you know, it's, you know, you don't really need anything. The music is what it is. I mean,
yeah, of course.
The old, even some of the old classic rockers. I mean, you don't need the video screens going back. I mean, it's awesome entertainment. You know, it's like, you know, wrestling or something.
Yeah.
But maybe even Lady Gaga or, you know, Billie Eilish or whatever, maybe the big $1 million video screens thing is going to have to come down a bit too, because certainly if you got people who've been getting their asses kicked financially for 6 months, they're not going to have that, like as Bruce said, $100 even to pay for the nosebleed seat.
Right.
But it is kind of weird though, because time, you know, we forget really fast. That's the weirdest thing about the human condition. Even as older guys ourselves, watching like, you know, what we consider the clubs that we've known and grown up with closing down. There's a whole generation of kids coming up and they're playing somewhere. You know, like I don't know where they're, you know, we all talk about, oh, rock is dead. And I'm like, there's a lot of kids picking up guitars and they're going to find a place to play and they're going to create their own little world. Mm-hmm. So I think we might be pretty surprised. You know, I think we might be pretty surprised that, of course, we're going to be hit with, like I keep equating it to some degree to the recession and, you know, and how that affected a great many people. Mm-hmm. But I think people like to have a good time, you know, and I think that there's going to be a lull no matter what. And on the other side, I think people are going to be, human beings are resilient that way. And they are very celebratory and we are very tribal. We want to get together and let our hair down and listen to rock and roll or hip hop or whatever it is you listen to and have a good time. So I think that, yeah, there's probably going to be an initial sort of like, I don't know, but it's like Matt said in China, if you know, if it's going to be Black Friday, you know, I hope I'm the band playing at that opening Black Friday that, you know, everybody comes out and plays. It's going to be a hell of a gig.
Black Sabbath Friday, baby. Yeah.
Black Friday.
I did want to, speaking of people, I wanted to say hi to everyone out there that's watching the live stream right now. And we've got people on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube right now, Instagram. No, I don't. We're not linked to that one. I don't think. But yeah, everybody out there, thank you for watching. And if you guys could do us a favor, if you're on Twitter, could you please retweet the live stream and let everybody know that this is going on so we can get.
I think I did that a little bit ago. So hopefully.
Yep.
I'm watching a bunch of people retweet. It's pretty cool, actually.
But Mike, you mentioned something interesting. You know, Todd and I really connected very closely in the past few years, even though, of course, I've been with Grand Funk and he's been everywhere with Slash for many, many years. But we get together and we will do more as the playing field changes in life as a band, as a band. But we've had the pleasure, and it's an extreme pleasure, of playing on these KISS cruises. So let's look at that as a model. We have 2,500 fans that love KISS. Now, you know, all the major bands have, you know, many, many, many more, thousands of fans like that. And KISS has got thousands and thousands around the world, tens of thousands. But for those special people who feel like my vacation is going to be KISS, my experience of 24/7 KISS, for that 5 days on the boat, put together by a great production company, Six Man. They do Joe Bonamassa cruise, et cetera, et cetera. Wow, what they do. Now, we get thrown up on that stage on the pool deck, okay, to do two shows, hour and 15 minutes, no production. There's a Marshall stack behind me. Todd's got a Marshall stack. Zach's got a SVT bass amp, and that's it. And then a big drum kit, for Brent. And it's all about the music, okay? And those people on that pool deck, which we usually draw nearly everybody there, okay, that's on the boat, go crazy. We don't have a light show. We don't have a banner. We don't have a flashing Bruce Kulick and the Mob or whatever. We have nothing, okay? And it's the music. So all those big artists, we all know that some of the greatest gigs from the Stones and other people like that, it wasn't when they're on the stage with the inflatable penis, okay? It's when they showed up at the Marquee in London and just became a band again, okay? Yeah. Without all the action. And let me just refer that back to probably the most bombastic, most over-the-top performing band in the world, Kiss. Mm-hmm. I go out and get invited to play their kickoff party, which is usually the first night. Last year it was the second, but just due to the stage they had to build. A little revolving stage, they did it on the Kiss Cruise 9 on the pool deck, okay, while we're leaving an island and it's, like kind of the sun's going down kind of, okay. And for that hour and a half that the band played, and then I got up and did like 6 or 7 songs, everybody goes crazy. No production, no nothing. Gene yelling at the roadie, it's feeding back. They don't. They get to see their heroes performing the songs they want. They see the human nature of us just having a good time playing our instruments, and ultimately that's what it's about. And even the gigs usually that Kiss have done on the cruises are in a theater. Think about that. No difference than these residencies. They're not giant stadiums. Maybe that's something that needs to be looked at. The band's safe. Aerosmith's in Vegas. Kiss is in Vegas. You go to see them somehow, okay, hopefully safely, and minimum whatever, movement of people, if you get what I mean. And, I know I went off on a tangent to how Vegas residencies could be really great, but they have been great. They really have. But the cruise is a way I was really trying to explain that you don't have to have massive production to make people have a memorable experience. And I do believe that the cost of the tickets could come down. I do believe that people will want entertainment, even if it's your hero sitting there on their couch with acoustic guitars, which is what's happening right now online.
It is, yeah.
Everybody's broken it way down. I love seeing. Did you see some of the TV shows now? They're they're from their home. It blew my mind. I go like, oh, he could use more makeup. Oh, right. Oh, wow, I've never seen his hair look like that. Ooh, the shine on his head. You know what I mean? These are things that never happen with the team of, the minions that all these stars have on television to make them look good. I wonder how they clean their homes.
I wonder how mine's going to get clean, actually.
I know. I saw David Coverdale. Well, Richie Blackmore and his wife were doing a live stream in their living room, and they said they just got off the phone with David Coverdale, and he was talking about dusting his house. So they wrote a song called "Dusting the House" or something.
Oh, cool. It was just amazing.
We all have to learn.
Bruce's point. I think my wife called me in because I forget what it was. If it was Kimmel or Fallon, or I can't remember, but they had. The guy from My Morning Jacket on singing kind of a tribute to having a senior moment. The soul cat that just passed away.
Bill Withers.
Yeah, Bill Withers. And I mean, he would have never gone on TV the way he looked, pre-apocalypse. The hair sprouted all over. He kind of crammed in between his keyboard gig and the window, but it was still a cool thing,
I was a little crazy. Yeah. Did you guys see that iHeart special? And I know they were raising money with the Elton John thing. That's like the best production that anyone could have with multi-screens. And they had to have people set that up for these people, hopefully responsibly. But I see these Bill Maher did one from on HBO. I'm flipping around, and he's in his backyard, and it was so lo-fi, it was so low tech. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Fallon's doing it with his kids running around and stuff.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, this is the new norm, and our show right here, Matt and Michael, that you invited us on. This show right now, this is like top NBC production prime time.
Good to go.
We're taking over America.
Exactly. Because everyone's doing it this way, and I've been really actually Lisa and I, my wife. We got to turn this on. I got to see what they look like. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing a lot of stuff from the home, and usually you take so much care and in presentation of things, and now to see these stars that are always just spot on, that every hair is in place, the makeup's perfect, and now they're like, whoa, okay, but it's real, and you feel for it. These are crazy. Of course,
yeah.
That Oprah show that she's got on Apple TV, you got to see that, man. She's like, wow. And her technology was not that great. She was doing like what we're doing, speaking to some important people about getting food for the people who usually have other resources, but because of the pandemic, other people are helping. And it was like some of it was like crazy. It's freezing up and everything, but it was still, the message was there. And I still really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, well, I love the fact that, reality TV has never really been reality TV because every era and things are scripted and, blah, blah, blah. But now we really have reality TV.
Oh, totally, yeah.
The way around.
Maybe that's better. Maybe, my friend Matt Wickham here, he made a comment. He said, best part of the home-based entertainment today is that it's raw and real. It's such a cool personal connection to have with the entertainer. Not sure what's better, the mystique of the entertainer or the personal connection that can be created, And it's like, back in the day, it was always like cool if you got like a rock star to sign an autograph or like you could take a picture with them. Mm-hmm. Now, I think maybe the new economy is having a bit of a relationship with, and I know you can't, like, it's just like everything. You can't respond to every comment. You can't have every fan over for dinner at your house, so to speak. But you can have dinner at your house and open up the computer and turn it on and invite the fans to come over to your house for dinner. Right. So it's kind of like it's a different thing, but it's kind of cool also,
So, well, the thing is too, I think that, if you're really a rock star, you kind of have that charisma that burns, and, you don't need the makeup. You don't need the production. I mean, when I did a rock and roll fantasy camp and Bruce was actually,
that was fun. I was talking about that this morning.
And I mean, he walked in the room just with jeans and a t-shirt, and everybody went like, oh, it's Bruce Kulick, because, I mean, he's a cool dude, and he's just cool naturally. And I'm sure it's the same with Todd. And I like that, authentic thing. If you need the makeup and everything, maybe your career will fall down a little bit, But if you've really got the heat, whether your hair's out of place or whether you gain 5 pounds or whatever,
But it also goes deeper because musically, everything from a 2020 standpoint, gridded, all the drums are gridded, all the vocals are tuned. I mean, this is very much the standard of making music these days. So whether it's makeup and hair or the actual tuning and gridded, everything is supposed to be as perfect as possible. And I really don't think that it's meant to be that perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I had this conversation with a friend of mine, how we loved records like Raw Power by the Stooges and records that technically, if we have the conversation about it, they don't sound very good. I mean? Like, they're kind of like, you probably should remix this, but if you remixed it and made it perfect, it would lose something. Do you know what I mean? And that goes for so many of my favorite records because it touched me emotionally at a time when I wasn't sitting around thinking like, is this the best guitar tone in the world? No, I didn't care about that. So sometimes now seeing somebody play guitar on their living room couch with that G string's a little sharp and he's kind of cracking a bit, but you know what? It's awesome, to see somebody just being real and like Campfire singing one of their songs. I think that's awesome. I love that stuff.
Yeah, well, I kind of listened to music in the '60s, and I think I might have had this conversation over there with Bruce at some point. All the records that we love from the '60s, they're all messed up.
Yeah, totally.
You put on headphones and you could hear mistakes and clams all over the place. It doesn't matter. They're brilliant artists with a brilliant song playing cool shit. So
we always point out that in Gimme Shelter when her voice cracks, and you go, whoa, and it's like that would never fly now. That would be repaired and replaced immediately now.
Right.
There's tons of Led Zeppelin times where I can hear plant kind of crack here and there, or or even Jimmy Page's breakdown in the middle of Heartbreaker.
Wrong on one of the songs, he changes too soon or too late or something.
And it's kind of like, meh. Yeah. The bass is so out of tune on Can't You Hear Me Knocking on Sticky Fingers when I don't know if it's even Bill playing it, but it comes in dun, dun, and he's like so sharp. I'm like, I never noticed that for 30 years until I was like a grown up, and I thought, wow, I can't believe. And they're like, it's good. Let's move on. And I think that you could correct those things, and you would just suck all the spirit out of it. Now this is just older guy. When I was a kid, we did it this way. But and I don't think there's anything wrong with the way people make records these days. I think it's actually kind of pretty exciting what we could do on the very machines we're staring at right now. But it's always fun to see people break it all down to like those Johnny Cash records where it's just Johnny Cash playing an acoustic guitar and singing a Nine Inch Nails song or a Danzig song or something. And you're like, wow, it's like gives it a whole new life. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of exciting to watch people do that right now.
We were talking to a couple of producers last night, and they were talking about Matt Wallace, he's the guy that produced the first Faith No More record and the first Maroon 5 record. Great guy. Matt's been on the show also. And he said, one thing about Matt, whenever he would put a mic in front of the snare drum, Will said he worked with him, and he would be like, hey, you think we ought to adjust it? He's like, it sounds like a snare drum. Let's go on. He's just like, it's kind of like, I think in the digital age, the more that we've gotten into you can make life look like a movie, right. We've kind of started hiding behind that, and everyone has been hiding behind that. And, it kind of started with the celebrities in Hollywood, and then now it kind of spread to everyone. And now that this COVID virus has come here and kind of shut everything down, it's kind of like equalized some things. And it's kind of made us realize we're all just human beings trying to do the best job we can here on Earth. It's hard to be a human being.
It is. Yeah.
It's hard to survive as a human being. And, so we're getting back into things that are maybe more important, which are, that indomitable spirit.
We'll accept it.
Yeah, exactly. That fierceness, that drive, that energy that an artist puts out when they do something with passion and emotion, and it's like, it's not a perfectly polished and chopped up thing. It's just that real human moment, and I think that's a value that we're starting to get more in touch with all this.
Absolutely.
I had quite a human moment this morning with Facebook. I've been doing, I know Todd knows about it. You guys saw it in my social media. I do these isolated riffs, and it really, I know they love, even if I just do an intro of a song, a solo of the song, or a whole song like with my wife, since she can sing. And I haven't figured out a way to safely bring anyone over like Todd to do something with me. Some point, Todd, we got to figure out the split screen thing that we can
talk to Matt. He's got it figured out.
Oh, okay.
I'll help you guys out, brother.
Okay, good. But
no charge.
And the reason I do this stuff together, we always do a Christmas song, so we know what it's like, and we do a few takes, and we're doing the same thing. We haven't done anything live, and all the things I'm doing aren't live. They're actually, all right, honey, she's my film ring. She's great with those when I. Anyway, I know when I nailed the solo good enough or whatever, but I still have to critique it. And I'm remembering what you just said, Matt. I am letting a few things slide because how crazy am I supposed to be with this? It's not about making a record, not about being perfect. But then today I got into this whole like pissing match online in a stupid way. I'm always very polite to the fans because I do care and I don't like things to get edgy. But I purposely wrote a description, and Mike, I know you'll appreciate it. I listed every pedal that I'm using and the amp and the guitar, what year, everything, the color of the pedal. Okay. Now, I don't know when they opened up me playing the Unholy solo, that all that opened for them was the video, where they clicked was just going to show the video, Unholy solo, where my description, which was well written, described everything. What gear are you using? And I remember saying to Lisa, I said, I'm putting all the details in the description because I don't want to have to repeat that answer of which pedals, you know what I mean? And then go into that because I'll see that in threads. Oh, is that the same guitar from, and then 4 people down. Is that the same guitar from You know what I mean? They're asking the same question. So the first guy that wrote that, and now I regretted it, but I apologize to all the fans that I got snarky about it. I'm like, you got to read the description. Didn't you read the description? Other guy chimes in, my 15-year-old daughter was really upset seeing like you act like that. And I'm like, oh my God. You know what I mean? You know, and then the other guy writes something like, well, you know, everyone's a little stressed lately, and he gets the rock star pass. And I wrote that guy and I said, I don't deserve a rock star pass. No, I didn't know that the guy's not going to be able to see it, or that it didn't open that way on whatever device. I don't know how Facebook shows up on everyone's social media, but I was specific about it so that I wouldn't have to answer the amp, the pedal, and anything. So there, I got snarky. They slapped me back. I crushed a 15-year-old. I'm devastated, all money. And Lisa said, I told you not to write that. You know what I mean? And I know.
Oh, man.
And then if you wouldn't have wrote it, you would have had you would have been doing comments all afternoon.
I know. I would have been sitting there with the comments. So, Michael, how do I handle that? You're a magazine editor.
Well, like I said, maybe it's just because I'm Italian, but it sounded like you were being very polite. Just read the description.
Yeah.
Well, I did a couple of capitals. Okay,
because I probably wouldn't be polite. I'd probably go, "Oh, come on."
I know. But that's the one thing. I also did. I said to Lisa when I did it, no, they got to know. You know, like when I'm a counselor at the fantasy camp, I yell at people sometimes so they get it. But over the internet, typing it, the yelling, it can back.
I mean, well, talking about technology, it's like, digital communication is fraught with terror and danger. So,
yes.
And people are going to assume that you're a rock star, and any little thing that goes slightly into the cranky zone, you're probably going to get blasted for.
Yeah, right. They even brought up Ace. Even though you have to do with it. Ace didn't say anything. Does Ace get cranky? I don't know. He's always nice to me. You know what I mean? It's a funny thread. And I, like I said, I engaged everybody to make sure they understand. And now I know I'm not going to make a big description, because since it won't necessarily open or the video just starts, hey, what did you step on? What guitar is that? Where if they look at it, I listed it.
Yeah, well, typically that stuff's, you just have to, it's still there. You just have to kind of scroll down to where the description.
Yeah, and they're just being entertained by the video and knee-jerk reacting, saying, "Oh my God, he stepped on some pedal." So I'm learning.
If you really want to piss them off, have the gear scrolling across.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's the
text.
Just playing through.
Let me help you out. If Kingdom of Rock, if you're out there and you're in high school and you're an upcoming guitar player, Bruce Kulick needs an intern to answer guitar gear related comments. So hit me up. Send me an email.
We've got the Massey twins just said, "It was the all caps, Mr. Kulick."
Yeah, all right, thank you. Like I said, yeah, that was a mistake. Okay.
Be careful of capitalization in the digital world.
Exactly. I know I did something snarky there, but I owned it. I apologized to everybody, and then I realized that what hurt the most. I know the older fans could get it, but a 15-year-old, they might think I'm just all peaches and cream. And though Todd knows, I could be crushed.
You like the coach. You were being like the coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would give all false information anyway. Like all the pedals would be wrong, and I just to fuck with people.
Right. No, I even color coded them. The yellow.
Yeah, I know. I know you're very this kind of guitar pick. Whatever.
They all know I didn't mean it.
Of course.
And from now on, I will engage in my gear, because I do love gear. I never really know how many actually do play guitar or know when I say what a Boss pedal is or not, because I have a lot of fans from all. They vary so much. It's not like going to the music store and doing your clinic performance where most of the people that come to the local music store, they've been in there and they know about it. They own gear or something. So Facebook, who knows, who I'm reaching.
Well, I think that's good that you do that, because A, it's educational, and B, I've even noticed that fans of anybody's music who aren't necessarily players, they find that data interesting. Maybe interesting for 2 seconds and they bounce, but
right.
Okay, I should probably know what this yellow pedal is. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That means a lot from you, being someone in the field of from the magazine era and everything. But you knew that the people picking up your magazine were probably obsessed with a guitar, not necessarily the wife of the guy picking it up, or
Well,
vice
that's true. And sometimes the obsessed people picking up the magazine were problematic.
Yes,
Sure.
you can never make them all happy, right?
You
Like,
know.
yeah, I bet you couldn't make them happy.
Well, what are you doing as you're sheltered in place to kind of keep from going crazy? You doing what kind of crazy stuff are you doing in there?
Are you talking to
Todd, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
Todd.
me? Oh,
Yeah.
well, I should. The first week, I kind of actually really enjoyed it because I never take time off. Like, I'm the kind of guy that's like 10 things on my plate. Once that 10th thing's off the plate, I'm looking for the 10th thing to put back on my plate so I can I got so good at just hustling, I think we call it in the biz. So, and I think actually taking time off is something I actually have to really my wife once sort of like for my birthday, she took me to Kauai in Hawaii, which is like the most chill island there is. There's chickens running around. And I'm like, well, what do we do here? I'm just mentally like, I don't have a guitar. She's like, you just chill. We eat food and then go over there and look at that and then eat some more
Buy a
food.
ukulele like I do every time I wind up there.
Exactly. I've done that a couple times.
Some instrument in my hand.
So being here that first week, even the first couple of weeks was kind of like, no one is expecting me. No one needs me right now. I'm not supposed to be anywhere. There's nowhere to go. There's no gigs. So I got caught up on some shows and did this and that, and spent some time around the house. And then eventually, like anybody, after a while, you're like, okay, because I kind of crammed as much as I could into that first week, thinking it's probably gonna be a week and a half. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, I crammed about a month's worth of chill time into a week, and then by the second week, it was started to be kind of okay. Started to kind of like try to create things to do, and then it's been forcibly productive and creative. You kind of have to because it's amazing how quickly the days will go if you just don't get off the couch. You know what I mean? It's like funny how
I got to jump in here. Okay, first of all, okay. Let me tell you, when I invited Todd to be on your show, Matt and Mike, okay, he really got excited, okay? How might he be, or how much has he just settled into other things? Because this guy is music 24/7, traveling all the time, gigging, writing. I could barely get his attention on some of the in-between times when we want to work on something, okay? So I'm sorry here, Todd, and please don't have your beautiful wife, Monique, kill me. But we got a little conversation with my wife, Lisa, when something was about like, hey, what's going on? Or just something, oh, we miss you both dreadfully and look forward to the first big family lunch. Because we do like to have these celebratory meals together after the cruises.
Absolutely.
I'm just looking for something to break up the day. We sleep, breakfast, walk, we eat, TV, lunch, TV, Todd eating loud snacks, TV, snacks, dinner, TV, snacks, TV, bed, laugh out loud. So that's what Todd's doing, okay?
That actually sounds heavenly, actually.
Doesn't that? I actually enjoyed seeing that, Todd, because I know that generally you're go, music, gig here, rehearsing for this. This guy's incredibly talented, guys. He can sing and plays bass and plays guitar and writes songs, and he's got a million different things going on all the time.
Oh, start.
The Canadian band Took with Brent, that they do their thing. Then he's got the Sin City, what's it called now? The Sin Original Sin, right? Yeah. Which was all set for a gig right at the end of March. Big gig with a record of them re-released with new songs on it and all this. And then, of course, Todd and I, with the other guys who live here at my cruise band, we were going to be recording a single or two or an EP or something. Now I won't let them in my house. Record anything, And so I can't, the brakes just went,
I know.
The night before the gig, that's supposed to happen on March 27th, right? Todd, you got my VIP, parking, VIP parking. Oh yeah, we got a special spot for you,
Yeah.
And I'm blowing up his wife on the phone saying the same stuff. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow night.
I was waiting for you to show up to an empty club.
And that was going to be a sold out gig for him, celebrating that band that he's known these guys for 10 years. And then we were thinking about trying to do some local things, and just like everything is just, just completely insane that everything has changed. Everything's upside down. It's Groundhog Day now. I heard people say that. Governor Cuomo, you know. Yeah. And I saw Paul has been doing some videos, Paul Stanley, and they're great. The fans love them. Mm-hmm. The last one, I felt he was so, you know, you could tell that he was just like, wow, this is like, it's hard. You know what I mean? To imagine that I got to communicate from my own home, you know, away from everybody. And I know we all have to put on a real brave face about it, and I do too, but it's still taking some time to get used to, although it's still, I sometimes I can't wrap my head around it. It's really nothing I ever thought I'd see in my lifetime, for sure.
Like I said, initially I felt, I started to feel really guilty about how much I was enjoying it, because it was like, this is actually a very serious, heavy thing going on. But I'm actually like, oh, wow, you know, and like, because my life is usually so much going on that when I come home, I try not to, you know, hey, honey, come sit down. Mr. Robot, season 1 through 4, let's go. Boom. She's like, you know, I kind of have to juggle my TV addiction on top of all the other stuff that I do.
Yeah, so, and happily for you, you guys don't watch the news, and I've always been a news junkie. I've had to trim that down because then the cloud is way too dark. Now I want to, so I don't want to watch a lot of political nonsense of you know, fighting that way. I want the science stuff, and that's why I have some friends that way. But I remember contacting your wife. Don't you know what's on the news? You know, and this is when things were going to get really serious, right? Yeah. And she was like, we really don't watch the news. We're just watching TV and having, you know what I mean? So, and I get that. So that's why I could see how Todd probably at first went, wow, I can unplug and just watch TV for a while. And for me, it was like, since I always kind of watched the news, although the news was never, you know, going to be that over possibly 200,000 Americans can die. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's the thing.
I'm like, I got to not watch that. You know what I mean? So that's why. And Mike, you know, I'm like camp counselor with my wife, and even though she's got a beautiful voice, I still petrify her when I get into my counselor mode. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, but that music stuff that we're doing in the house, and my riffs, and me wanting to engage the fans. And today was the only day that it got a little snarky in one little thread. I take great pleasure in it. I love that they love it. It's the one thing keeping me sane. Guitar playing, presenting riffs,
of course,
stuff like that. The only thing, you know, that's really means something to me, because it does something for me. Not only gets them excited to see me perform stuff that I don't usually dole out that often, and now it's almost every day I'm feeding my fans with a riff or something, you know.
I'm just trying to think of how I can make some more money to get as many guitars on my back wall as Todd has.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. My dad, this is one of my dad's obsessions. He lives in Canada, and he comes down and he's like, he finds this slat wall, and he actually ordered these things because he's like, there's so many guitars around. He goes, you got to have a wall. And I'm like, okay. And it's just like, it's some crazy stuff. Like I noticed this Adam West style Batman mask, which I forgot was even there. Uh-huh. And then there's an orange Devo jacket from one of the Devo tours.
Nice.
A friend of mine worked for them.
You got to put those on for the fans.
Why didn't you do the podcast with the Devo thing on?
And the Adam West?
Todd, here's the deal. If you get bored in the next couple of weeks, I'll have Michael's got other responsibilities sometimes. You could be the co-host, but you have to wear the Batman mask.
I have some.
And the Devo suit.
And the Devo suit, exactly.
Todd, I bet you don't have one of these, Todd.
Eric Singer is gorgeous. Wow. There's a lot of junk in here. Yeah. I mean, you can only
go on my friend's show, so I said I'm going to have a special guest. You know what I mean? He's on a fly squad, you know. But look,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Say hi to Todd. Eric's a big fan of Todd's too.
Eric, hi, Eric.
Yeah.
Eric's anyway. But you can only stay unplugged so long, because
I know
in my house there's like literally a guitar within arm's reach. Like this is just what's in here, and a lot of it's crazy. That weird red guitar is we were in Branson, Missouri, and there was this 24-hour Keith Urban guitar commercial on, and we were like, and I kept going in and out of the hotel room going, what is this? Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't make sense of it. And I was like, this is so weird that Keith has like a 24-hour, what do you call that channel that sells things all day long?
It was like one of those.
Yeah, it's like they sell stuff all day long, and I was kind of like, this is so weird.
Or the home
Long, and then I come home after that trip, and my wife ordered that red Keith Urban guitar. So I just thought it was so funny. It's so funny how they all have.
Doesn't it come with lessons or a book or something?
It came with this
method or something.
This ginormous cable, which I use all the time. It's just so funny how
I see
every guitar has a story. There's two Icemans up here. There's an Iceman here. There's an Iceman over there.
All right.
Yeah, there's an Eddie Van. I've never plugged that Eddie Van Halen guitar in. I bought it, and I was like, I have to have that. And then I brought it home, and I was like, I don't know how to play.
You bring it over.
Guitar.
Well, hey guys, for 1 hour only, it's a special. You call 1-800 Todd Kerns, and just 1 hour. It's only $2.99.
Yeah, $2.99.
We'll do like the home shopping network for musicians. Bruce,
Dude,
are you selling the mini guitars still?
When I saw how much money Keith was making off that thing, I was like, how do I get into this racket?
No, it's crazy. And you think like, wow, he needs more revenue streams.
He needs more. Exactly.
Oh,
look at those. Yeah.
Those are so adorable. I love those.
Dope.
I don't have any cool stuff like that.
I got one over there. I've got a Bootsy Collins bass like that too in those small jobs, but I've got the Swirl Bruce Kulick guitar over there.
Axe Heaven is a really good company. You know them.
You have a Bruce Kulick guitar.
Have you done any videos, Bruce, where it looks like you're doing a guitar solo on those? That would be hilarious.
That would be funny.
Just have like a background track and just act like you're just ripping a guitar solo on it.
Like that guitar got left in the dryer too long and shrunk.
There were people who, when I had a limited run from ESP, an LTD version of these multi-swirl models. So they were, real guitar, real, kind of like that Eddie Van Halen M1, humbucker Floyd Rose. So I remember it came shortly after I presented the mini guitar. So people would be, and I don't like to put prices in when I'm doing that offer because, let them email, the proper channels will explain what it is. And then people are like, oh, really that much? You know what I mean? And it was like a guitar package price and they thought it was just a mini guitar. So people get confused. And so now I'm very specific, 10-inch replica. You don't know 10-inch. You got a problem, but one's a full-size guitar, an actual guitar.
Speaking of funny coronavirus videos, have you guys seen the Rick Springfield video where he teaches you Jesse's girl in 60 seconds?
There's a series of those, and every one of them is hilarious. Yeah.
So he never
really gets to it. No.
I just emailed his PR company today.
Yeah. All right, that's funny.
How amazing how's Rick? Isn't Rick like 70 years old?
Yes,
he's up.
But he doesn't
look like it.
He's got he's blessed with
the best arms for any 70-year-old up there.
I know.
He's like super buff.
He's awesome.
I hate him.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to look like Mr. Furley by that point.
I got a question. I'm wondering, like when I imagine, what are these people doing? Okay, so I'll ask Todd since he knows him better than me. So what do you think Slash is doing right now?
Climbing the fucking walls.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
It's funny because I maybe a lot of what my sort of, I guess you would call it a work ethic, but I don't really consider music work. So to me, it's always kind of like, I just say yes to almost everything because I'm always like, that sounds awesome. Let's do that. Great. Let's do that. And you have to kind of figure out how it works on a proper working calendar. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Slash doesn't have to do anything if he doesn't want to, but he just never wants to stop. Like I always tell the story of how one day he was like, because we played together. Actually, yesterday was 10 years ago. Yesterday was our first show together. We played on the Jay Leno show together. Mm-hmm. Jay Leno. That was like, is that like a really crazy old reference for people?
Yeah, they're like,
before Jimmy Fallon had the Tonight Show, there was Jay Leno. Yeah. So we did that together. It was the first thing we ever did together, and we've been doing stuff for the past 10 years. So at first, the first batch of time, we did a whole bunch of stuff. Then Guns N' Roses got together. They did a reunion tour. Then we came back and did another record, and we're planning on doing stuff in the future. We'll see how that all works out. But one day he sent me a text, and it was kind of like, hey, you want to get together on this day? And I go, yeah, let me check my calendar. And I remember just being kind of like, curious as to where it was like literally he was flying from South Africa into wanting to get together to rehearse. Like the idea of a day off I think just scares the hell out of him. You know? So I feel bad for him. I don't like actually feel bad, because I think he's another one of those guys that should unplug as well. Yeah. But I know he's wired in a way that it's like he loves the stage, he loves the studio, he loves touring, he loves making music. And I think I know he's probably playing. He'll definitely be playing a guitar, whether it's plugged in or he's sitting on the couch watching TV. But he, of course, comes up with a gazillion riffs. So he's definitely climbing the walls, but playing guitar.
When I lived in LA, I would run into him sometimes at a deli, and most of the time with his kids. And they're just busy with like video games, hanging out at Jerry's Deli, and I'd say hi to him, or but I know that was unusual to see him on a kind of just doing something without a guitar, because the guy's like for being the Guns N' Roses guy and the Les Paul and the guitar and a very, very popular and strong guitarist, no doubt. Mike, who do you know that's like really iconic from all your years that you wonder
probably a bunch
what they're doing, but that you're close to, that you might have a clue?
I think it's the same as what Todd said about Slash. Probably. I mean, imagine, Vi and Satriani, Lukather, all those.
You just spoke to Vi, so you know what he's doing.
Vi's doing a lot on the internet right now.
I mean, I know
podcasts a week.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
But I'm sure everyone's in the same boat. But one of the funniest things that I kind of didn't expect since we were doing this show was from this NBA player, Matt. What was his name again?
Oh, Paul Grant.
Yeah, Paul Grant. So I think Matt asked him, well, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I think a lot of my NBA brethren are learning how to be full-time parents.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was so funny because like you go, oh, right, because they're never home.
They're never home. Yeah.
They're never home.
I know. Yep.
I think those sports people probably have something to do for like Paul McCartney or Eric Clapton or whatever. They're probably going nuts just like Slash, I would imagine.
Of course. I mean, we're all in the same boat.
That's why they need to come on Kingdom of Rock and talk to people.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
That's what they're thinking, I'm sure.
Right. Send a note to Paul McCartney's person assistant. See what happens.
We're not that big yet, but we're getting there.
Exactly.
Well, like someone like Paul McCartney who just does whatever he wants to do. I mean, it would be nice to be a fly on the wall and go, are you just hanging out by the pool reading a book, or Well,
you probably got to get to his drawbridge and then across the moat, the whole thing.
Got a fire-breathing dragon.
In the studio writing stuff crazy. I think he's not stopping. I think he's writing.
No.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Well, you've challenged me, Michael. You've made me want to see if I can get a hold of him. So I'm going to put that on my list.
Oh yeah, good luck for that.
Ask for the moon.
It's the Mick Jaggers of the world that I wonder, because Mick seems to be just, he's just always going. Like, he's just one of those kind of people. So I think Paul McCartney seems like he might be able to chill, like, and kick back. And
I don't know.
He smokes weed, but maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mick's probably dancing around his house right now. I don't know what he's doing.
Well, but Mick Jagger, when he had that house on Mystique, he was just hanging out, in his, in the sun. So I know that Mick knows how to relax.
That's true.
And we know what Brian May is doing. He's this on top of the thing. Here you go. This is what I play. That was very inspiring.
I'm loving those cool, Brian May videos. Those are awesome.
Yeah, but he's always been like this respectable scientist practically. So he's just like, well, here you go. Here's how you do it. And he's got nothing to prove. He's just
not at all. Yeah.
And he's so that seems like him. I wonder about those people though, that there's always this image that surrounds them. So what do they do? Now that we're all, as I think Matt mentioned, equalized by this, the technology, and that we can only do so much. I mean, I was going to say earlier that one of you mentioned that reality shows were never real, and that's true. They're all set up. I was on Gene's show, and when we did something in the studio, there was almost like the lines weren't scripted. Excuse me, but there was like a theme of what was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? And then it happened because it was pretty much what we were surrounded by. But it would be interesting, actually, Gene, with that house and that family, if Nick and Sophie are there with Shannon and them, they could do a real family.
Look at that guy.
The COVID edition, you know what I mean? Here's something, and see what happens, Oh, I'm losing my voice already.
Well, we're getting to well, we're actually past the top of the hour now, and
look at that dog. Oh, we went past. Woo.
well,
Okay.
you know, I'm supposed to, my team tells me I talk too much, and so I'm trying to keep it at an hour.
What
So,
team is that?
Well, the vast group of interns and employees that I don't really have, right? It's just me right now. Well, actually, we may have a new intern. I just started advertising, so, but yeah, we just wanted to kind of thank everybody for being on the show, and Bruce and Todd, and of course Michael, and all the fans out there that are watching. We got Vanessa, Jared, Jeanette, Ton Muller Photo, Massey Twins, Air Jimmy, Frank Bowman, JJ 1984, Steve Gray, Matt Whitcomb. Thanks, guys. Ernest G. Thanks, guys, for watching, tuning in, and tell your friends about Kingdom of Rock. And definitely go check out Bruce at brucekulick.com, Todd at toddkerns.com, and Michael Molenda at guardiansofguitar.com. And I just wanted to say last thing is we're going to be doing a meetup for all the Kingdom of Rock community from 2 to 4 p.m. from on this Sunday. That's Pacific time. You'll get a link in the Kingdom of Rock Backstage Pass community on Facebook. And we have a meetup from 1 to 2 p.m. for all the guests of the show, people that have been on the Kingdom of Rock podcast before. It's kind of like a professional networking event on Zoom. We all get together and talk about musician-y things, you know, music industry things, and see if we can build some relationships and networking and stuff. So check that out. Cool. And again, last words, Michael.
Well, it's great to meet you, Todd.
You too, brother.
We should keep in touch. You know, Bruce I've known for a long time, and he's always been so incredibly giving to the guitar player community. And you know, he knows his shit. That's for sure. So
that's for sure.
Yeah, knows what the yellow pedals really are.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's always a thrill to talk to you, Bruce. So I'm so glad you had time to do this.
No problem. My pleasure.
And Bruce, do you have any last words for everybody out there during this COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, I think everyone should really try to do some of those things that you never get a chance to, and enjoy music, enjoy some of those things, take up whatever hobby you can. If you can't do your regular, routine of life, and hopefully, spend your time doing things that will make you grow as a person. You know, I'm learning things about myself every day. You know, like
how do you like that?
You know, how to talk to you guys.
So take us home, Todd. You get the last word.
The last word. No pressure at all.
No
well,
pressure.
First of all, Michael, always a pleasure. I'm a huge fan of. We can sit and talk guitars all day. I'm a guitar nerd. I'm not as much a player as I am a nerd. Bruce Kulick. The first time I saw Kiss was March of 1985. So I don't want to do the math right now. And Bruce Kulick was the guitar player. So there you go. So to come full circle and be pals with him. And Matt, thank you so much. I definitely want to make sure everybody. I honestly think everything's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to come out of this cool. And like Bruce said, do all those things you didn't have time to do. Trust me, I am the most professional procrastinator there is. So I'm trying to kind of finally take a moment and go, I've always been meaning to do this. Even like sit down and learn the guitar solo to Looking at You by the MC5. I sat down and did that the other day. Not very well, but I did do it. And, and then watch Mr. Robot, Game of Thrones, whatever the heck is on your plate. And most of all, just try and have fun. Enjoy time with your family, and try not to drive your wife too crazy, I assume.
That's what your friends are on the wall back for.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Kingdom of Rock out, and we'll be here every day for the next God only knows how long. But we're going to be doing episodes. We have another interview today. Who do we got next, Michael? Oh, we got David Reffitt and Michelangelo Badio.
Wow.
So at 5 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, get the double shred going, right?
Say hi to him.
All right, guys.
All right.
Peace out.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. All right.
Take care out there.
Cheers.